sky or winter chill. If I gotta take a break, I will. But I'm gonna run right up this hill. I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hand.
Hey guys, I'm Khaki and welcome to my channel. This is my first video ever, so cut me some slack, but I wanted to share my journey and have it to look back as I progress through this. I am 3 days away from gastric bypass surgery. Throughout the process of getting approved and getting ready for surgery, it has helped me so much to see other people document their journey. So I wanted to do that myself to maybe help somebody. I decided to get gastric bypass, began the thinking process about it probably a year ago and started the research process. Finally, this summer, I went to go see my surgeon, Dr. Westmoreland, and talk to him about the possibilities of gastric bypass versus the sleeve and if I even qualified. Thankfully, I did, and I chose the gastric bypass with his input. I have been obese pretty much all of my life, even in elementary school. I'm sure it's a experience that many of you can share. When I started my liquid diet about 2 weeks ago, well, I think 11 days ago, I weighed 284 pounds. And at 5'0", that puts my BMI well above 50. I have high blood pressure, a little bit of high cholesterol, and sleep apnea. And the things that I enjoy were becoming harder and harder. So I knew I needed to make a change. In the past, I have tried low carb, Weight Watchers, multiple efforts to lose weight. And I always gained it back. At one point, I think in the early 2000s, I lost 80 pounds with low carb. Over the period of a year, I gave up bread, any type of sweets, uh, refined carbohydrates, and I was very successful. But then life crept back in. I started to college, and those old habits crept back. And within probably a year, I was back where I started, plus some. From listening to other people, I know that's an experience that a lot of people share. Looking at the research and watching other people's videos, I see that people can truly be successful in maintaining weight loss with weight loss surgery. And for years, I've seen other people do just that, lose weight, become healthy, and keep it off. And then I've seen other folks lose weight and let those habits creep back in and not be as successful. And I have really looked at how those different situations happen. And I hope that I will be the latter, or the former rather, and able to keep it off. You know, my concerns about weight loss surgery, I'm sure, would be the same as most people's. Um, Concerned about the time after and the healing process. I'm concerned about failure. You know, most of us obese people have failed multiple times in the past with keeping the weight off. I always tell people, and I think that losing the weight is not the hard part. It's maintaining it. And I hope that when I have this tool, that's where it's going to come in, and not just losing, but keeping it off. One of the things that I enjoy the most is traveling outside of the country. And over the years, with my increasing weight, I've seen it become less easy and less enjoyable. And I thought to myself, here I am with these wonderful opportunities to go so many places that I've seen in books, and I'm not able to fully enjoy them. So I'm hoping that this process will enable me to do that and enjoy them even more, as well as just being with my family, my husband, and my everyday life. Um, with me, it was a fairly simple process of getting approved for weight loss surgery. My insurance, thankfully, covers weight loss surgery. I did not have to go through the hoops that a lot of people do. I didn't have to do 6 months of weight loss visits. I didn't have to show anything other than my weight and my comorbidities, which I said earlier, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and sleep apnea. Once I met, I, besides meeting those specifications for my insurance required me to have a psych evaluation. Then it required me to attend 3 support groups, which I found very helpful. It's always helpful to hear other people in the same situation you are. I had my final weigh-in about a week and a half ago, and I had actually started my liquid diet that's required by my surgeon before that. I'm on day 11. With my particular surgeon, for that 2 weeks leading up to weight loss surgery, you can have Jello, sugar-free Jello. You can have sugar-free popsicles, which surprisingly I haven't ate that many of. You can have protein shakes. You can have broth. And then 3 times a day, you can have a very small quantity of specific nuts and berries. I have really struggled to find a protein shake that I liked. The Fairlife has been the one that I've gone back to, but I've never really liked sweet drinks, so that's kind of hard. You could also just adding to that, you could also have things like unsweetened tea, the diet juices. I think V8 has a juice that's less than 5 calories that's kind of fruity. So my saving grace, I think, the thing that's really kept me going during this liquid diet is the weekend, a weekend before I started, I had scoured Pinterest for recipes for broths. And I found on Amazon something similar to ice trays that held 1 cup in each well. And I prepared probably 6 or 7 different types of broths. All had a different flavor. For example, I did a lemongrass and ginger chicken broth. I did a Greek lemon soup that had a lot of lemon and dill. It was a chicken based. I did like a beefy onion broth, several different things so that I wasn't just eating the same thing over and over. And let me tell you, those broths have truly saved me the last 11 days. I cannot imagine just drinking water, unsweet tea, and protein drinks. So, if you are thinking about going through this process, that's one thing I would highly recommend is making some homemade broths in different flavors. I really haven't struggled that much with the liquid diet. Surprisingly, I thought I would be miserable. I really haven't been. I've never been a sweet eater, believe it or not. So being around, somebody brought to our office last week crumble cookies. Didn't bother me at all. But then another lady in my office had pork nachos, and oh my goodness, that was hard. The smell of the pork, and I've always been a crunchy and carbohydrate like chips and that kind of thing lover. So that was a little challenging, but I made it through. So I'm looking forward to getting on the other side of this process. I'll still be on liquids for about 2 weeks after surgery. But from my understanding of your hunger, from what I've heard from other people, your hunger is greatly reduced. So, and I know that's a building block on getting to the other side of this, and having more control of my eating and my habits. Um, the things that have really been hard for me are telling people. There's always a fear that people are going to say, well, you're taking the easy way out or you're cheating. And let me tell you, even on day 11 of the liquid diet and reading what I have read about the recovery process, there's no cheating to it. It's not a magic bullet that's going to make pounds drop off of you. But I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is the removal or the bypass of a lot of your stomach removes the area where ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, is produced. So I think that's going to enable me to get more control of my appetite. And then also, so many of us who are obese have lost weight, and it seems like we're doing everything right and it creeps back. And I've read a lot about a set point where people, their bodies just want to get back up to that weight. And I think some of that is your habits creeping back in. But I think that some of it's true. Your body's used to being at a certain place. And from some research, I found out that removing or bypassing part of your stomach kind of helps restore your body to a natural balance where it's not fighting against you to keep weight off. The surgery helps you lose weight. Absolutely. It's restrictive. It changes the way you absorb foods, but the keeping it off is what I think the surgery helps most people with. There's ways to eat around the restriction, and I hope that that's something I'm able to overcome. But I'm looking forward to having that tool to really help me. My hopes after I have this procedure done are that in, a few months, that I'm going to be able to eat healthy, normal food in a smaller quantity and be satisfied and not be always thinking about, not wake up in the morning and think about what am I going to eat, not just for breakfast, but what am I going to eat for lunch? What am I going to eat for dinner? What am I going to eat this weekend? Food has really taken over, and planning, thinking about, waiting for has kind of become one of my primary focuses, and that's not natural. I talk to people all the time who say, I realized I haven't eaten today. And I'll think, how do you do that? How do you just forget to eat? Never happened to me. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to after weight loss surgery is not having food control me. So my plan from here, my surgery is this coming Wednesday, which is the day before Thanksgiving. I know that's an odd day to decide to have weight loss surgery, but my office is closed normally on Friday, and then with Thanksgiving, we'll already be closed on Thursday. So that's going to give me some time to recover without having to take time away from my job. The surgeon that I have wanted to use has recently announced he's retiring. And it was kind of like, okay, I really want him to do my surgery. His colleague will do my follow-ups. But so that kind of put a time limit on it as well. And then it coming up at the end of the year, I've got my deductible. I'm very fortunate to have my surgery covered. So that really motivated me to get it done. I turned 50 in June. I want the next, hopefully 30 or 40 years to be healthier. So it's the time to do it now. And I feel like it is. So anyway, I'm going to be adding these videos, updating you on my journey, and I hope you'll subscribe and watch my future. Thank you.